Hello! Welcome in!
Round 15. We are here. We are ready for another great round. Steven, how we doing?
I am doing great. Ready to continue our drinking expedition through quarantine. We got Lagunitas coming up today. It's going to be a good episode. Hey, yes. Gabe.
Hey, Steven.
Let's grab a drink. Lagunitas Brewing Company is coming up. First up, Gabe, how you doing?
You know, I'm all right. I'm alive. I'm healthy. I'm hanging in. That damn near COVID-19's kind of a bitch, huh?
She is an angry mistress, and she's come back to get her things. And god damn it, she's not leaving without those earrings.
She gonna get them. She gonna get hers. That's for sure.
But we still have great beer to drink, and we're going with Lagunitas today,
yes,
which is owned by Heineken. So kind of less crafty than we normally craft, but
they have amazing drinks, amazing brews, and we're sampling 3 today. This is a great brewery. This is another one of those breweries that we've definitely sampled on many occasions. I've definitely had the regular IPA, the little something, always a good beer.
It's one of those breweries that I remember drinking, years ago before they were owned by Heineken. Now they are. You can kind of say like, okay, do you see a difference? You can kind of track that over the years. But also in these quarantine times, sometimes you got to drink what you got to drink. And I'm really excited for Lagunitas, because I think we got some really great crafty options out of there that you can't find most places.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think it's going to be dope.
We got some fun beers today. As always, let's get into what is going on in the beer world.
Let's dive into the news.
Fun little list we've got.
The Brewers Association has announced the top 50 brewing companies by sales volume from 2019. This list is not appreciably different from the list in 2018. Not a whole lot changed. The top 10 craft brewers. Now, to be a craft brewer, they have a criteria of like what defines a small independent brewer. But you do see a lot of these like larger sort of conglomerates like Boston Beer Company, which owns Samuel Adams, Coney Island, Concrete Beach Brewery, Angel City Brewery. I mean, you do have to keep that in mind when looking at this list. But okay, the top 10, we have Yuengling, Boston Beer Company, Sierra Nevada, New Belgium, Duvel Mortgott, which owns Firestone Boulevard and Brewery Omegang. Gambrinus Brewery out of San Antonio, Texas, Berkeley, California, and Portland, Oregon. Bell's Brewery, Canarchy, which owns Oscar Blues, Cigar City, a whole bunch of other breweries. Stone Brewing.
Shout out to Stone.
And then Artisanal Brewing Ventures, which owns Victory, Southern Tier, and Six Point. And that is the only new addition to the top 10. They replaced...
I am very surprised to see Yuengling number 1. Got to be honest. Not because of them themselves, just I wasn't expecting that. That's interesting.
Right? And that newcomer to the top 10, which includes 6 Point. It's amazing how many of these we featured on the show. It's actually
I know. I was just about to say that.
Exciting.
It's really great. I think we're doing something right.
That last one on the list replaced Deschutes, and that's the only new change to the top 10 from last year. But
still holding on strong.
We do have one exciting newcomer to the list, the only newcomer to the entire list of 50. The only newcomer to the list in 2019 was Stratford, Connecticut's Two Roads Brewing, which landed at number 47. Two Roads took the place of Salt Lake City's Uinta Brewing, which fell off the list after producing 50% less barrels last year than they did in 2018. So that company fell off the list. Welcome to the list, Two Roads. Take that, Utah!
Suck it, Utah! Yeah!
Uinta's actually a great company that makes pretty great beer.
I love how we're like, yeah, you guys suck. They're actually really great.
They actually patronize them. They're doing a great job. But yeah, really excited to see Two Roads on the list. Yet again, we promised the listeners Two Roads will be on our show in the future when I can leave my apartment.
In other news to all the bike riders out there, a company called Bikes and Beers, which puts together riding, cycling events that begin and end at a brewery. Let me just stop right there. Listen, we gotta do this, Steven. I would love to do this. And they have a 15-mile not race, but a 15-mile ride and a 30-mile ride. We can do the 15 one because we can just cruise, we can just chill, and then we can go get some beer.
I love that it starts at a brewery, though. I love that.
That's what they said. It said it starts and ends at a brewery.
I love that it's like, come have a beer, we'll ride 15 miles, we'll have another beer. It's just like
Hey, we can get some bike beers to drink while we're on the road.
Ooh.
But regardless, this company, Bikes and Beers, is putting together a social distancing ride in light of the COVID-19 craziness that is going on. They are trying to keep the rides going, keep the support for craft beer going, and basically what they're doing is putting together a social distancing ride, which is a virtual cycling event. So basically, you'll just sign up through the website, you start riding, you log your own miles, and you log them in. And every rider who does a great job gets a rider appreciation package with a bunch of cool merch and a bunch of cool stuff. And using the promo code craft beer, all one word, gets you $5 off. And it's for a great cause. You get to ride, whether you're outside or if you have a stationary bike inside your house, hashtag gym rats, hashtag killing it. You can still compete in this and give to a great cause. And most of the proceeds are going toward COVID-19 relief. It sounds like a really awesome thing. And you guys definitely need to check this out. Support Bikes and Beers for their social distancing ride.
And let's talk about what you can get in that rider appreciation package once you've completed your ride. You can get a limited edition social distancing ride t-shirt. You can get a Bikes and Beers 24-ounce cycling water bottle. You can get beer tokens to be redeemed at partner breweries near you, so you can take these in and get some free beers at your local brewery.
They are valid when the tap rooms reopen, so hang on to them if you get them.
Bottle opener, koozie, stickers, and a bunch of other stuff. And then there are prizes, too. If you happen to be a winner, you could win things like $1,000 Bianchi bicycle. Bianchi?
Dope. Bianchi.
Am I supposed to know what that is? Beyonce bicycle. You can.
Oh my God, Steven! You can win a year's supply of Cabot cheese and a year's supply of peanuts, dude. We need to get in on this.
What if I won the peanuts?
That would be the most hilarious thing in the world.
This company trying to kill me for a year, just every week.
Every week, they're just sending you a death package. Death by mail.
Oh, God. And finally, we just have some follow-ups to some news we've mentioned on the show. First of all, 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, I mentioned that Stone Brewing is suing Miller Coors over their Keystone brand. Well, that lawsuit is finally going to whore.
Finally going to the whores. Finally.
That lawsuit is finally going to court in October. So go get them, boys. And I just want to say, reading this article just really pissed me off for Stone. I wanted to yell at Miller Coors because some of the shit in here is so condescending. Argument.
I felt kind of the same way.
The argument has a lot to do with Stone's trademark. Stone is saying, okay, they are a trademark, like everyone knows, Stone Brewing. And Miller Coors basically was like, no one knows who you are.
No one knows who you are,
They said that Stone's trademark was conceptually weak because at least 10 other craft breweries use the word Stone in their name. And they submit, this is a part that's just such a
this is a big middle finger.
They submitted data showing that 53% of beer drinkers surveyed had never heard of Stone Brewing. I just imagine,
I felt the same way.
Maybe it's because I watched that movie Ford versus Ferrari last night. It was great, by the way. You should see it. But they have, the guy who plays Ford, Tracy Letts. He does a great job, but he just is kind of this like corporate douchebag who you just like hate the whole time because he's just like this fat suit wearing know nothing who like doesn't really drive the cars. That's the guy who I imagine being in court with some chart being like, look, we surveyed and 53% don't know. So for all of our listeners,
no one knows you. That's everybody.
For all of our listeners. No Stone Brewing. All of our listeners know Stone Brewing because we profiled them on the show. So take that, Miller Coors.
And finally, the Ball Corporation has increased crowler production to meet demand as it's so needed nowadays by breweries all over. They have added a production of 32-ounce crowler cans and expect to have a supply ready to hit the market in about 2 days. The Strategic Communications Director, Scott McCarthy, said, Ball is adjusting our production to help meet that demand. We believe we will have additional cans moving into the market. Demand for those 32-ounce crowlers has surged, similar to other products, so they are definitely helping out in a time when breweries and bars alike need them. So the growler sales are growing through the roof. Crowler sales are going through the roof.
They're going to save us from our crowler shortage.
We're going to be swimming in crowlers.
And quick shout out to the brewery we featured last week, Allagash Brewing. Allagash Brewing, they tweeted this week that their staff had discovered extra safety masks lying around. I'm not sure I love the word discovered. It kind of makes it sound like they dusted them off out of some closet somewhere.
Yeah, I did.
Oh my God, we found these under our brewery.
My first question was like, why were they lost? Like, did y'all, like, when they moved in, did they just like put them in the corner and then they're like, oh my God, we have all these masks now?
Who's in charge of the supply? But
Are
anyway,
they covered in like grain.
Be that as it may, they found some. And they've donated them to a local hospital to help with COVID relief because supplies are in demand. So come through, Allagash. Gabe, you ready for a little toast?
I am always ready for a toast. I am going to pour our first beer. Oh, here it is.
It's so soothing to listen to. I saw Tiger. Now I understand. I saw Tiger, and the Tiger saw man. I can give them a home, safe and warm, but the law wants to ban me. Can you tell me who's wrong? Every time they move, every time they breathe, I can feel their power. I can feel their beast. 'Cause I saw Tiger. Now I understand. I saw Tiger, and the Tiger saw man.
Joe Exotic.
Cheers.
Cheers. Was that Joe?
That was Joe.
Oh, man. Second I heard the word tiger, I was like, oh boy, here we go.
That might be copyrighted material. We might get sued by that, but if we got sued by Joe Exotic, as I've said in the past, I think it would make the show better.
Joe,
I'm willing to roll those dice.
We're giving it to you, man. So that is absolutely hilarious and amazing. And with that, let's dive into beer number one. Steven, y'all ready for this? Okay, we are ready to dive in.
Seem excited about this beer.
Dude, I am pumped about this beer, and because of the color. You see this, right?
Oh, I see it.
We are drinking the Lucky 13, the Ultra-Mega-Mondo Red Ale, which is a very hoppy red ale. It was one of the fan favorites at Lagunitas. They brewed it specifically in 2000, just to give a quick rundown. They brewed it specifically in 2006 to celebrate their 13th year of brewing, and the staff and everyone loved it so much that so they said, let's keep this show going, and they have it now. And I am so excited because of just this ruby red color it presents. This is like the type of beer that I really love. Like, I love this like auburn amber ale color.
Yeah, so the SRM chart, it's like 23, 4, 5-ish, which is that like it's like auburn, like amber into like burnt amber into a reddish thing.
So red.
I love red ales too, and this being an Imperial red ale, it's 8.8%.
Yeah, it's on the boozier side.
About 76, 77 IBUs, and it got 92 rating on Beer Advocate, 3.84 on Untapped.
Yeah, so it was rated very high.
Now, I poured it. The head retained really nicely for a really long time.
Same.
And it is like sticky in the glass. There's like a ton of lacing dripping down the side. It's still got a nice ring of foam.
Oh, man. It smells like berries. You get any of that?
Berries and biscuits. It's very like...
Yes. It's very aroma forward. If that makes any sense.
I wasn't expecting there to be that much hop smell in it. Like I was expecting the malt profile that I'm getting, because you're definitely getting like biscuit and barley, but there is some like there's a good decent hop profile in there. There's like some pine, some, like you said, some grapefruit.
The hops that they use they're big on the Amarillo hops with rich dark malts for a round and huge smoky-ish flavor. Salud. Hey, Steven?
Yes, Gabe. His hand is raised.
Can I say something?
Yes, you can.
Yes.
Gabe likes it. It's really... the hops come forward. Like you said, those Amarillo hops and like the dark malt. I wasn't expecting it to be kind of as robust as it is. It's really...
I will say I was expecting a different taste. I was expecting like just... Maybe it's because of the color, but I was expecting to just get hit in the face with like berry and fruit, and it's got hints of that. But yes, it's got that a little bit of that pininess from the hops. So it's almost as if it's like 75% malt and hops, and then 25% of the fruitiness that comes in afterward. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's there. It's just like it's more in the smell than anything in the taste. What you get hit with is the pininess, the earthiness, and then some darker flavors, the toffee, the biscuits, and then but the sweet malt, it kind of coasts underneath that, just like like a little,
it's like layered. The head. Okay, so I just poured some more. Wow, I took 2 big gulps of this. I just poured it again. The head definitely retaining nicely, but as you said, as the beer was going down, definitely sticking to the side of the glass, moving down slowly. A hoppy red ale. I don't think I've had too many of these, so this is a fun introduction.
You see what I mean? So we mentioned they originally brewed this in honor of their 13th year of brewing. Clearly, it's a fan favorite. It is made with kilned malts, and the high temperature and low moisture in the kiln are what kind of burn the malts and kind of give them that red color.
That color, yeah. And as opposed to where it's it's like a stewing process, which would be high temperature and high moisture. They change the balance of it to color it. What I want to know is, how do you change the balance to make it like blue? Because going back to last week when we were talking about the beers we would make, my beer would 100% be blue if I could figure that out. Why the hell not?
I mean, listen, don't let me stop your creativity. You know what I'm saying?
Don't let me cramp your style. This is delicious. Definitely, I would say medium to full-bodied.
It's definitely...
Easy to drink.
The 8.8 ABV hides really well. This beer is dangerous because she could sneak up on you. She
already has. She's behind me, and I'm afraid to turn around. That's how I'm feeling with this beer right now.
So, Lagunitas Brewing. Now, we did mention they're owned by Heineken. They're a subsidiary of Heineken. Heineken purchased a 50% stake in the company in 2015. But they have been around as a company since a lot longer than that. I believe they were founded in 1993.
Yes, our boy, Tony Magee.
They were founded by Tony Magee, who was home brewing in his kitchen when he dropped a bunch of wort behind the stove, unbeknownst to him. They found that out on Thanksgiving when he almost burned his house down, and his wife probably was pissed, and she said, "Get your shit out of my house.
Get out of the kitchen and start somewhere else.
Because now Grandma don't got no turkey."
That. And she ain't coming back next year.
And after a Chinese dinner on Thanksgiving, he opened Lagunitas Brewing.
Wow. That actually sounds pretty awesome. But not traditional, so...
He moved to a storage shed in the town of Forest Knolls, California, which, if I'm being very honest, doesn't sound a whole lot safer than what he was doing originally. A storage shed?
It's only a matter of time before he burns something down. But, I mean, he obviously figured it out. I mean,
my parents have a storage shed, and I'm pretty sure if you went in there with...
a homebrew kit?
Just a homebrew kit. If you lit a match anywhere near that thing, like within a 5-mile radius, it might burn down. It is so flammable.
Yeah. What's crazy, though, is he started... So, Tony Magee started with the home brewing, but he started on the stovetop.
Mm-hmm. That was the problem.
I thought, yeah, it's like, of all the places, I never thought to think, I'm going to make some beer. Turn the stove on. Well,
you do. I mean, I did a really shitty home brewing experiment once, and you have to boil it, obviously. So you don't have giant tanks and stuff. So you do it on your stove.
True.
And if you're Tony, you dump the wort behind the stove. Get it together, Tony. But
he obviously did.
Then he got it together big time because he's doing a lot better than us. And he opened this brewery, which expanded real quickly. Eventually opening a brewing facility in Chicago,
Seattle, back on the west, back in
west,
Azusa, California. He basically wanted to figure out the best way to get his beer everywhere. And so he thought, well, as opposed to shipping it over a couple days and whatnot, what would be best to have it fresh? Have it be made right over there. So we opened in Chicago, Seattle, and Azusa.
And they're now available in at least 20 different countries, certainly all over the country.
But one thing I wanted to mention about Lagunitas is now this would be a perfect moment to have your brother John back on because they are big into music. They have an amphitheater at location in Petaluma, California. They normally showcase local bands. They do get some big names in there to just come play. But what's crazy is, so they have the casual tap room band, open mic sort of deal. They have an amphitheater where they house these just big-ass parties and concerts. Like, if you go to Lagunitas Brewing, you can get beers and you can have a party. You can go out and drink and listen to the music, and it's like one of the coolest things ever. They're basically doing it to support local up-and-comers and to get their music out and introduce who they are. But, I mean, what do we have to do to get a ticket to these parties, Steven, besides go there?
I mean, we could form a band and go be featured there with alongside names such as Charlie Musselwhite, Bad Not Good, all one word, and Foxygen. I'm sorry if anybody's fans of any of these bands. I think they sound great. I just am enjoying the names.
Yeah, the names are pretty awesome. I can play the triangle.
Fantastic Negrito.
Yeah, it's really cool. They've got most of the artists are kind of local to the area, but they've got some pretty big names in there. And for all you Spotify fans, they are on Spotify with a playlist called Live at Lagunitas 2019. They basically have live versions of some of the songs that have been played at the brewery, free to download, and you can definitely check them out and listen to the music and drink their beer while you're doing it. We should have a party and just play some of their music.
I want to have John back on. It's so funny to me how much brewing and like punk rock are sort of like really a match made in heaven, you know?
Yeah, it's really cool to see. But yeah, John would love that. So
yay!
How awesome is that you can just go to? It's like, oh, let's go to the brewery and let's go to a concert while we're there. Look at this thing. This is huge. They have the giant stage, and we could perform. We could do.
Well, we can't because we don't have a band. But if we
not yet, not with that
if we
attitude.
Form one, we just can't call it Alice Drinks the Kool-Aid because that name is taken.
Damn it.
One thing I love about Lagunitas' website, if you are drinking their beer and want to do some research of your own, is the beers that you click on. They all have these 2-minute YouTube videos. This series that they do with one of their main tasters over there. He's hilarious. He's got he does a nice job, pulling out what he smells and tastes in the beer. And with regard to this one, he finished off the video by saying, "It's something you want to pet and stroke and cherish and love. Yeah, it's beer."
Thanks, man.
I just love that last tag he threw in there. Yeah, it's
beer.
It's beer.
I saw a video and he says to get the bitterness, he dips his pinky in the beer and puts a drop of the beer in his eyeball.
Holy shit.
I don't know if that was scripted or if he was just being hardo, but
I'm gonna guess not.
My man gets down, so good for him, I guess.
These videos are hilarious. They're entertaining. They're little 2-minute snippets of what we take an hour to do. I want him on the podcast. Give him a call.
His name is Jeremy Marshall. He's noted as a Brewmonster of Lagunitas.
Jeremy, I want to meet you, sir, and thank you for the beer. Jeremy. And you know what I have to say about the Lucky 13? It's beer, man.
Also, shout out to my brother Zach. His number for all sports and everything has always been 13, and so every time I see the number 13, I always think of him. So here you go, Zach. He might like this beer.
Y'all in numbers, man. You guys, we don't.
It's a sports thing, homie. You wouldn't know.
We don't have numbers in my family.
7-13.
I love that. Shout out, Zach. Thanks for listening. If he's listening.
I am chugging this.
I know
is how much
it's a little dangerous, but the lacing. I'm loving the lacing as it goes down the glass. I just want the listeners to know that. I'm just really geeking out about seeing how it works down the glass, how sticky it is. Yes.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
I don't know if you do this. So the lacing on the glass, do you treat it kind of like a cloud in the sky where you like try to see what the image is? Because right now on the side of my glass, I'm looking at a very fat dragon. Dude, that's what I'm getting.
I'm looking at a really well-defined wolf, but that's because I'm drinking out of a Game of Thrones glass, so it's actually...
Shout out to Game of Thrones.
I can't say that I do, but if I had to pick well, it's been in the glass a while, so the lacing's kind of fading just enough that if I had to pick what that is, I'm looking at like...
You ever go cloud watching, Steven?
It's been a while.
Yeah, me neither.
What I need is another beer, because this one is making me...
Want more.
Like it, and yeah, you know what? It's beer, man.
Yeah, you know what? It's just beer.
That's the new tagline for our podcast. Yeah, it's beer. All right, let's move on. What you got, Gabe?
I will take the lead. Here we are. I am drinking the Citra hopped mega ale called Super Cluster Ale. This is an Imperial IPA. It is a one-of-a-kind ale. From what I've read about this beer, it's the kind of beer that, quote-unquote, if you took an IPA and gave it steroid. So, immediately, I'm impressed and I'm intrigued. It's a big and bitter beer coming at a solid 8% IBUs of 60. On the SRM scale, we are looking at another very dark golden type of drink. I would say between 8 and 10-ish, kind of. Not really. We'll see. Who knows? Your decision. Game over. Set. Game match. I don't know. Beer Advocate.
Exclamation point!
Thank you. Beer Advocate gave it a 91. Very high. Untapped gave it a 3.86. And before I get into this beer, before I even sniff the liquid gold that it is, I want to read an excerpt, if you will, from the website of Lagunitas describing this beer. Are you ready for this?
I am.
Here we go.
Bring it on.
This is from the website. You are here, on a speck of dust, 3 tiny rocks from the source. At the edge of something much larger, in the middle of something else, at the beginning of the end. It's a lot to wrap your head around, so take it one gulp at a time. Life is uncertain.
Their website is so fucking weird, man. I'm sorry, but it's just like,
oh my god, I was not expecting that.
They have all these like,
what the?
They have all the specs of the beer. They have like the original gravity. They have the ABVs, the IBUs, all the important stuff. And then you're reading it, and like you'll read a sentence. I could read you mine later. You read a sentence, and then it just goes off the rails at a certain point. You're like, what?
I will say that is 100% correct. Even for the Lucky 13, I was like, all right, I'm trying to figure out what this beer is all about. I just thought that was really cool because it's all about space and the galaxy and all that fun stuff that this beer kind of represents.
No, that one was nice. I liked it. I didn't have a shit on it.
It's really cool. It's made with only using Citra hops specifically. It's just like a solid looking beer. Like if your typical golden color, very thick head, not thick head, very nice head. I would say about a centimeter. Not really sticking to the sides of the glass too much. But it's got a nice head retention. It looks like a solid choice, and I'm going to give it a little sniff here. Oh yeah. Citrus 100%. This punches you in the mouth, punches you in the nose, so to speak, with citrus 100%. Very hoppy aroma. Got a hint of sweetness. This is another one of those beers that like it kind of knows what it is. Like once you taste it, once you smell it, like you know what you're about to get into. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I feel like we've had a couple beers on the show where it's like, okay, it smells like this, and then we try it, and it's like, oh, that's not what I was expecting. But with this, I mean, you smell it, you're gonna get what you're gonna get. You know what I mean?
As he goes to taste it, I mean, that is an interesting thing with beer that I always look at. When I'm tasting beer in this way, where you're kind of doing an in-depth sampling of it, is like, does the taste follow the nose or not? Sometimes the nose promises things that the taste doesn't deliver. Sometimes the taste follows the nose exactly. Sometimes the taste can surprise you with new things that you weren't able to detect on the nose. So it's really interesting to see what the difference is, or what the kind of gap is between what you smell, what you're anticipating, what you're feeling as you anticipate it, and then what you actually experience when you finally taste the beer,
For this, I just tasted it. I will say it was a little bit of both, of expecting what I was expecting and not expecting it. Expecting on the sense of citrus, 100%. I get that orangey, lemony flavor to it. As far as what I was not expecting, very piney. It's got hints of tasting notes of eucalyptus, pine, tree, Douglas fir, tomato vine, things like that. It's very, very piney and earthy. Low carbonation, another easy to drink, another dangerous drink. It's 8% and it's easy to drink. I will say, if you're not a fan of the piney, earthy sense, you may not want this.
Yeah, that's an IPA. That's like
this is a specific type of ale.
If you like that bitter, piney, earthy thing that comes with IPAs, which so many people do, that's why it's such a predominant style in America.
If you don't like that taste, you need to either be prepared for it, or you need to kind of change your ways about it. And another little excerpt from the website itself, given the name supercluster, a supercluster is a large group of smaller galaxy clusters or galaxy groups. It is among the largest known structures of the cosmos. So every review I read about this beer has all been about space and the cosmos and fate almost. And now I get why. Even the can, like even the little, like how it's presented. I mean, look at the label, that's what it is.
So I have a question which might be a little bit off the rails, but
I have an answer.
Do you? You might not. Lagunitas has a history with the cannabis plant, such that they have gotten into some trouble with the law for some weedy things around their facility. Which leads me to my question.
Tell me there's weed in this beer?
No, but I am asking, do you think the guy who made their website was stoned when he was making it? Because that's just the vibe. Especially with this beer. I get it. It's galaxies. It's all this. But like this, the Milky Way is part of the local group, Galaxy Group, which turned in part of the Atlantic K. Okay, it's weird.
Yeah,
I could be wrong. I don't want to accuse them of anything.
They were either stoned or very drunk. I'll say that. They were not sober. Let's leave it at that. Because I hear you with that. I didn't. What do you know? The trouble they got in?
Yeah, I mean, it's the lawsuit was no charges were ended up being pressed. It wasn't really a big...
What was it though? Like an employee was like smoking on the ground.
No, there was like a whole thing, dude. Like the cops were trying to figure out if they were like selling weed to customers off their brew. This was a long time ago when weed was not legal out here, but like apparently the cops in their near their California facility like staked out the brewery for like 2 months watching and like saw a bunch of employees like smoking weed. So then they like raided the place at one time. I hope I'm telling this story right because I would be just
defamating. Someone's going to come correct you real quick. They're going to be like, okay, first of all,
that didn't happen.
Wow, I didn't. That's
but I did do a deep dive on this research. I went to Wikipedia. So you tell me if it's true. Can I drink my beer now, please? Please.
No.
Please,
I'm
Dad.
going to give one final thought. Did you just call me Dad?
Yeah.
This is... I don't know if I would call this like an IPA on steroids. This feels like... Maybe it's because I drink IPA all the time. But I am a fan of this. I like it. I think it tastes good. Again, it's very earthy. You got to wrap your mind around that. But it's got the sweetness. It's got the citrus. Lagunitas, great job. Let's go into space and let's do the damn thing. Stephen. Thank you. What?
And now it's time
drinking
for the phase change. The phase change is part of their one-hitter series, so they do have a number of different series going on. Obviously, they have their year-round beers. They have special releases, unlimited releases. This is part of their one-hitters, which means they brewed it once in a small thing, in a small setting, and it may not be available again. Maybe it was a one-time experience. But this is a seasonally unexpected, wet-hopped, juicy ale. So they call it seasonally unexpected because... the hop harvest is kind of like a grape harvest when it comes to wine. It only occurs at one time a year. So getting wet hops are kind of considered to be the best because they have the most flavor, the fullest expression of the hop kind of pininess. They're the juiciest. And the best time to get that wet hopped full flavor out of the hops is when they're fresh off the vine. So since the harvest only happens once a year, it's hard to achieve that kind of wet hopping effect year round. So it's kind of cool. The holy grail of brewing.
When year round, like fall?
No, it's around the end of summer. Like that's around the end of summer, which is earlier than grapes are harvested. They're harvested later.
Right,
hops around the end of summer. So anywho, with regard to this beer, they were trying to achieve a wet hop effect. They developed a new hop liquefaction process, which they had used in other beers. And so a seasonally unexpected wet hopped beer. Wow. It is 7.2% ABV. It is 60 IPUs, so that's solidly bitter, but not too bitter. On the SRM scale, we're looking at definitely a lighter color than the last one we were dealing with. It's probably like in the realm of, I would say, 14 to 16 in there. It's nice. Slight haze, mostly just from the chill of the beer, but it's not a hazy beer. It's kind of a really nice gold color.
It is a little hazy.
Yeah.
I mean, but like you said, that could be just from... Not the beer itself.
The chill and also the sediment. There's like a little bit of sediment that's in there. It had a nice thick head. Again, solid lacing. A nice white ring around the glass. Okay, on the smell.
Dive in.
You're getting hit with that citrus up front. It's
nice.
Mango and pineapple.
It's like a smoothie.
Guava for sure. Yeah, it's a tropical flavor. It's
so what you're saying is that beer should have a tiny umbrella in it.
I mean, yeah, you could find your beach with this. It's really, yeah, it's got that sweet citrus up front, and then as you smell it a little bit more, as it kind of, when you really get in there, you've got some earthiness, and you can just tell it's going to be hoppy. So I'm excited. I'm excited by how juicy it smells, because it really smells like almost like one of those juicy New Englandy ones. But it's very
nice.
behaving.
Okay. Yeah, the juiciness always plays a factor in all the beers. I mean, when you can smell it, and then if it comes through in the flavor profile once you drink it, I mean, it just makes it all that better, you know.
That citrus hits hard. It's got a nice, like, it's that sweet pineapple thing. It's like the first thing that hits you is because it hits you, and then as you swallow it, it kind of spreads through your mouth, and you kind of feel the tanginess of like the orange and all those things. But
first impression, drink it on a beach, or like, what's your ideal setting for this beer?
My ideal setting for this beer is like a porch in the summer, a covered porch in the summer while it's raining.
Wow.
Take that.
Hey.
Because it's warming. It's definitely high ABV. But it feels summery because of all those tropical flavors that are in there. But you don't want it on a beach. It's not. It feels stickier, wetter than that. It just feels. Maybe it's the wet hopping. I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, interesting. I'm with it.
It has a vibrant carbonation. It's definitely got a lively kind of zing in the mouthfeel. The pineapple, and then in the background of that, the hops, of course, come through. You definitely get the bitterness. You get some earthy tones, some cedar, different things like that, with the sweet kind of caramel malt backbone. I don't know if the taste, kind of going back to what we were talking about, I'm not sure if the taste fulfills what the nose was promising. I'm not sure it's quite as juicy as or as sweet as I was expecting it to be. Yeah. That said, maybe you don't want it to be. So in that sense,
yeah, I mean, that's not necessarily like a bad thing. You know, it's just like it takes you for a surprise, and it makes you invested.
They have Simcoe Mosaic hops in here, and a grain profile that includes a lot of oats. So the oats give the hops kind of a place to live. The inspiration for the beer apparently was like somebody was at their brewery was kind of saying there's nothing quite like the smell when you're in the kiln with a bed of Simcoe hops and the heat turns on, because the smell of the hops just fills the room. And so they were thinking like, well, when the kiln turns on and all that aroma fills the room, that means that aroma is not in your beer. So they were trying to figure out how to get that into the beer, hence the wet hopping, because wet hops have never been kilned. So all of that aroma, flavor, juiciness that's in the hop goes into the beer rather than filling that room, you know?
I said it before and I'll say it again. You have to be a scientist to make beer.
Oh, man.
100%. One honey. That's crazy to me. That's really cool though. I mean, you've got to be able to figure. I've never. I mean, obviously, I've known that like wet hops is a thing, but I've never thought about like what beers is it in. You know what I mean? So it's interesting to hear about.
You can get this beer in 4 packs of 16-ounce cans, or you can get it on tap at their breweries. For now, again, it is a one-hitter, so it's kind of a get it while it's hot. It's not something that's going to come around very often, but if you're a fan of juicy IPAs, New England IPAs, anything in that citrusy, hoppy blend category, this is going to fulfill that promise for you. It's very layered. Would I say it's the best juicy IPA I've ever had? No. Would I say it's a good one? Would I say it's a good one? Yes. Yes, I would. Well done, Lagunitas. For me, I would love to see, because of what I like, I would just love to see the IBUs come up a little bit more. I would love to see bring
for it to be a little stronger.
Not the ABV necessarily. I mean, always, but not the ABV necessarily. Just the IBUs. There's like you know when you drink 6 Point resin and there's that it's sweet almost, it's so sticky and so bitter that it's almost sweet. This has the sweetness, but it doesn't come from the bitterness is not attached to that, I guess is what I'm saying.
Right.
Like there's
Yeah.
there's a citrusiness to it, there's a juiciness to it. It's bitter, but it's just not, I wish there was a little bit more bitter to kind of battle the sweetness, if you will.
Right.
I want
Interesting. Yeah.
I want that battle in my mouth, and I'm not getting it. But
they're magically delicious.
It is good. It's my personal mission to get him into every episode, no matter what we're talking about.
Listen, I support it. Do we even have time to talk about what's on tap at this brewery?
Mm-hmm. We should.
Because they've got some great offerings. Tours are available. They've got tap rooms in the Petaluma area in California, in Chicago, and Seattle. We are currently looking at the Petaluma facility, a big facility with obviously a little stage for live performances. They've got a lot of great beer, a lot of year-round selections, a lot of specials and limited releases and unlimited releases. Let's see here. I mean, they've got just all these crazy creations, and the one hitters, Steven's drinking the face change. The one hitters coming from, it's all experimentational liquid ideas that the breweries put together to try to kind of churn out and see kind of what happens. And so it's cool to see that most of them have kind of made their mark. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of interesting options there. There's the Born Yesterday Pale Ale. There's the coffee stout called the Willetized Coffee Stout, which is bourbony, barrel-aged. Oh, you're speaking my language.
And for all you sour fans, the Cherry Jane Sour Ale.
And they also have, I'm going to mention this, Weed Water.
Yo.
They have...
Yes. What the hell? You can make cannabis anything, but they made cannabis beer.
So we should say cannabis beer is a thing. Eventually, we'll be able to find some and have it on the show. Right now, we will not. But it has... CBD and THC in this is actually a seltzer, so this isn't even beer. It's hoppy, sparkling water.
It's sparkling water. That's right,
which makes it gluten free. But it's and 0 calories. But it's sparkling water infused with hops for that flavor, and then it's got 18 to 1 CBD to THC, so it's not going to get you like super high.
Stony
I would
baloney.
imagine. But
our boy who gave us the reviews for all the other beer is featured on the site and just looking
with a French bulldog. So, so they got that and a whole bunch of other beers. Check out their website if you want to see a full list, and then of course their tap rooms, when they're open, also have a full kitchen.
Full kitchen.
Yes. Drink. Finally. Eat your heart out, drink their weed water. They don't call it that, but I do.
Oh, so good.
Gabe, I think we got to go.
I think we do have to go, but before we go, you made a toast earlier about the Tiger King, did you not?
I did.
Well, without spoiling the show, because everyone should watch it, it's now the number one thing to watch on Netflix.
Have you wait? Have you finished it?
I haven't finished it. But I've been watching it. I know. I'm working on it.
That's an off-mic conversation, but we need to talk.
I know. And we promise no spoilers, but...
What's there to spoil? It's a documentary about crazy people that own tigers. There are twists and turns.
Tiger is my favorite animal, so I have a special connection.
We're not talking about Game of Thrones over here. We're talking about a documentary about crazy people that you should go watch on Netflix.
I don't know if you've heard this, Steven, but... So Joe Exotic is like kind of the main guy, arguably, right?
I would say without a doubt. Yep.
So again, you have to watch it to get this next reference, but he's got a few husbands. One of his husbands, John Finley, the dude who's shirtless
now they're
and covered
definitely
in tattoos,
gonna watch it.
wants Channing Tatum to play him in a movie. If you saw this guy, you would have some questions, but basically he's got a few film adaptation ideas, and this is strictly coming from the article. He wants Tatum to play him because he's calling him a really good actor. But above all, Channing Tatum gave a shout out to his sister who had stage 4 brain cancer. And so one of the things on her bucket list was to get Channing Tatum to kind of give her a shout out. And Channing Tatum absolutely did it. He was happy to. And so John Finley said, this has always kind of had a special place in my heart. And he's always a good actor. Now, Steven.
Yeah.
What he says is he wants Channing Tatum to play him in a movie. Do you know what his second choice is? If Channing Tatum can't do it?
Shia LaBeouf. I don't know. Am I right?
You are absolutely correct. Are you kidding me? That was a guess?
Really? Well, I mean, I'm looking at pictures of him, and
yeah. No, you're absolutely right. He said he has another go-to actor in mind if Tatum won't be available, Shia LaBeouf. He would probably be a good choice because with a beard, he can look like me and he can relate to me.
What?
Holy shit, I can't believe you got that.
He looks, okay, if anybody has seen, Google John Finley cartoon, and there is a picture of a guy from the movie Peter Pan. The cartoon. And one of the pirates in that movie has a bunch of tattoos, earrings, he's bucktooth. He's way buffer than John Finley actually is, but that is probably closest to what this guy looks like.
Oh, yeah. Wow, they do look alike. That's crazy.
He looks nothing like Channing Tatum or Shia LaBeouf. I mean, listen, Christian Bale played Dick Cheney. Anything is possible, but my question is, what movie is this guy thinking is going to be made about him that's going to include...
Yeah, I think, if anything, it would be like a movie from the perspective of him.
My
watching...
Tiger Husband, the John Finley story. Like...
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if anything, I want to hear... Okay, so slight spoiler. Slight. Not much, but slight.
Who cares? Go watch the movie.
He's like the main focal point of the documentary, and he's got a husband named John Finley. They bring in another guy, third guy, named, I don't remember, Austin something? I don't know. But anyway, they bring him in, and they're interviewing, like, John, and he's talking about how, like, yeah, Joe came up to me and was like, what about bringing this guy in? And I figured, why not? I would love to hear what that conversation was like, because you can tell he's really not happy about it. So, like, what would that conversation be like? Like, Joe Exotic goes up to his husband and goes, hey, let's add a third to this party. And he's just like, okay.
Listen, these dudes aside, there are so many reasons to watch Tiger King. I'm obsessed with Carol.
You have no, of course. Carol is nutty.
Carol has more...
Let's get her on the podcast.
Carol has a way bigger social media following than we do, and that bothers me. I know we're just dealing with beer, and she's got pumas and cheetahs and fucking tiger. Nobody cares about the cats. That's what really bothered me at the end of that. I watched the whole documentary, and I just thought, y'all are caring for tigers. Is no one paying attention to the tigers?
Yeah.
Because no one's paying attention to these animals. There's just a whole lot of shit going on.
It's just the people, and it's so crazy, and it's owning exotic animals.
It has, but
I didn't jump to watching it because, like I said, tiger is my favorite animal, and I was like, oh, they have them in cages. Like, I don't want to see that. But the documentary is just like too interesting to not want to watch. You know,
the documentary is phenomenal, and when you're done with the documentary, you can go on Reddit or Instagram or any such place, and you can look up the Tiger King memes because there are a whole lot of good ones out there. Go look up the memes after you watch the documentary. It's worth it. But seriously, is it the best documentary I've ever seen?
No,
No, it's not.
But it's interesting as hell.
The Jinxes. Go watch the Jinx if you haven't watched the Jinx. I mean, no spoilers. Dude, it's been a long time.
Great. Yeah.
Okay, that's another.
Even
day.
You introduced that to me, and that was like a whoa.
I've watched that like 18 times. Everyone I show it to, I'm like, dude. In fact, I might go restart it right now. But we gotta go, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Follow the show at the HO Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. Follow our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and please send us beer suggestions of what you want us to drink, or just touch base with us. Let us know how you are. Hit us up and let us know what's going on with you. And also, do not forget to subscribe and give the show a review on Apple Podcasts.
Hashtag 5 stars.
Helps. 5 stars or whatever, because we want to hear your feedback and we want to make the show better. So your feedback, positive or optimistically constructive. I won't say negative.
Wow, that's a great way to put it.
Your feedback,
positive
or constructive, helps us make the show better for you. But that's going to do it for us.
We're going to get the hell out of here. Thank you guys so much. Round 15.
We'll see you next week, guys.
We appreciate it. Go drink some good beers. Beers, Pierce.
Later.